Welcome to In Conversation with MANWAR podcast. This podcast is brought to you by the Do Not Be a Bystander campaign. You can join us in raising awareness about bullying by visiting donotbeabystander.com, and be sure to subscribe to the channel to stay informed about upcoming episodes. Today's participants are Ziana, Farefta, and Ella. Our special guest of today's episode is Lily Ahonen.
Welcome to our Bullying Awareness Podcast. I'm your host, MANWAR Khan. Today, I'm joined by three young individuals who are ready to share their thoughts and insights on the topic of bullying. They all have the same goal, eliminating bullying from school and communities. These young individuals are passionate about addressing the issue of bullying and willing to empower others. Today's participants are Ziana, Farifta, and Tasnia. Thank you, Ziana, Farifta, and Tasnia, for joining us today. Before we continue, I would like to introduce our special guest for today's podcast, Lily. Lily will shed some light on bullying and give some tips and advice at the end of this episode, once all the participants are done with their question. I'd like to talk a little bit about Lily. So, Lily is a nurse and a foster parent caring for medically fragile children. She also holds a diploma in mechanical engineering technology. She loves to travel and has been over to 40 countries. Wow. She loves flying and has finished half of her private pilot license. She's a sustainer member of the Junior League of Calgary and is also a living organ donor, having donated her kidney in 2019. Lily is an actor and a model. She has worked in runaway shows, including New York Fashion Week. Lily is also a makeup artist and has a cosmetic line called Marigold Beauty. Thank you so much, Lily, for joining us here today. With I know how busy your life is, but taking time out of your busy schedule for us, it may really appreciate that.
Thank you so much for having me here.
All right. Now that we have introduced our participants and guests, let's get started with our questions. So the first question goes for Ziana. Empathy is a powerful tool in addressing and preventing bullying. So Ziana, can you tell me how can empathy help in a bullying situation? Can you give us an example?
Hi. So, first of all, what is empathy? So, basically, empathy is the ability to understand another person's thoughts and feelings in a situation from their point of view rather than your own. For example, if someone is feeling sad and they tell you it's because of situations at home, and you feel really bad for them because you've also experienced something like that and you want to help them. That is showing empathy because you're understanding that person's feelings from their point of view and you want to help them deal with it. In a bullying situation, empathy can help in many different ways. For example, it can show the victim that they're not alone and that you're there for them. It can also help you see things from the victim's point of view so you can understand how they might be feeling, so you can anticipate what might make them feel better. So, in the end, teaching the importance of empathy and how to be empathetic not only prevents bullying, but also prepares kids for success in life. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ziana, for your answer. So by encouraging empathy, we can work towards creating a society that values empathy, rejects bullying, and support well-being of individuals. Thank you so much. So the next question, compassion, involves having a genuine concern for well-being for others and happiness of others. So my question for you is, what does it mean to you and how can you encourage others to be more compassionate towards people who are being bullied?
So, to be compassionate is when you feel deeply for another person as they experience their ups and downs in life. You can encourage others to be more compassionate towards people who are being bullied by talking to them about what compassion means and what good it would be for the victim of bullying. For example, if you show concern for the victim, then it would show them that they're not alone and that someone else is there with them. And another way of showing that you are compassionate towards an individual who is being bullied is to speak up. Because bullies get away with their behavior precisely because people are afraid to speak up towards them. So speak up when you see a person bullying another individual to show them that, okay, bullying is bad, it's not okay, and they need to stop it immediately. That is all.
Yeah, I agree with you. It helps to create a more inclusive and supportive environment for everyone, and they where they feel valued, understood, and cared for. Thank you, Ziana. So my next question is for Farifta. Promoting respect and empathy in school and communities is essential for preventing bullying. Here comes the questions. How can we promote respect and empathy in schools and communities to prevent bullying?
Thank you. We can promote respect and empathy by doing kind actions every day and making sure we hear people out. We promote this by being respectful and kind to everyone and spreading positive energy, comments, and conversation, and many more things. Another thing we can also do that we can educate little kids or even who is new to this concept so they can help someone who was being bullied. Also, most important part is to cheer people out. So it's just a way to respect someone, and also it just makes someone's day a little better. And yeah, that's pretty much.
Exactly, and I totally agree with you because this promoting respect is it's an ongoing process, right? It's not one day you do it and it's done. So it's an ongoing process, and that requires a continuous effort for that. Excellent. Thank you so much, Farifta. My next question is: so respect is about treating others with kindness, fairness, and consideration. Can you tell me how can you show respect towards your classmates, towards your friends and teachers? How does show respect this thing help preventing bullying? Anything that comes up in your mind?
Yeah. We can show respect by being a kind person and respectful people's opinion and feelings about things without being judgmental. So many people sometimes just insecure or shy about what the person might think about their opinion. So that's why they don't really share their opinion, and sharing your opinion is really important. Um, and it showing respect prevents bullying because showing people you care about and that you don't feel the need to bully. Like if you respect someone, it's just they don't like to bully someone. Like if you just respect, and yeah.
Yeah, thank you for your response. So, showing respect towards classmates is not only beneficial for them, but also creates a more, as I mentioned, inclusive environment for everyone, including you, right?
Mhm.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Farifta. So, the next one is for Tasnia. Kindness is the quality of being friendly, generous, considerate. We know that it involves showing acts of goodwill, empathy, care without expecting anything in return. So, my question for you is why is it important to be kind to other person? When a person is unkind, what do you think? How do they feel to other? I mean, when a person is unkind to another person, what do you think the victim will feel at the time?
There are several reasons why we need to be kind to others and to ourselves. Things like being kind can brighten up another person's day. It's also very proven that being kind raises a person's self esteem and compassion, and above all, improves a person's mood. When a person is treated unfairly, the emotions of going through them would be emotions like humiliation, sadness, and depending on the extent, it can affect a person's physical and mental health.
Right. Excellent. Thank you. So it is important to remember that everyone responds differently to this unkindness and this kind of behavior. So it can have a very negative impact on someone else. So thank you so much, Tasnia. My last question for you is, what can you do if you see someone being mean to another person?
You can't control a person's actions or words. If you see someone being mean to another person, you can stand up for them, you can talk to the person, but if you're in the person if someone is being unkind to you, there are things you yourself can do to stand up for yourself. You can respond to them politely as though you're talking to a stranger, sympathize with them, putting them in a difficult position. There are some scenarios in which a person is being unintentionally rude. In those scenarios, all you have to do is really just point them out.
Yeah. Maybe what we are saying is taking a stand and do not be a bystander. Like, all right, excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tasnia, for your answer. So, with the completion of this questioning, we will now move on to our final segment on this podcast. Now, I would like to invite our special guest, Lily, to share her thoughts on bullying and give some advice to our participants and viewers.
Thank you. First of all, I'd just like to say I really enjoyed hearing all of your comments, and everything all three of you said was just wow, I'm blown away. Very wonderful responses. And what Tasnia just said about if you do see somebody who is being bullied and kind of checking in with them and pointing it out. I did read something somewhat recently, and it was, I believe, a Harvard professor, and they were saying, like, what should you say to somebody who is being rude to you? And sometimes you want to be rude back or say certain things, but what she said is the best thing you can always say is you can say to the bully or the person who's like insulting you disguised as a joke, you can go up to them and say, "Oh, are you okay?" Because then it's kind of it's like a not really a rude way, but you're kind of letting them know that that's not okay what they've said, and asking, you know, them to kind of think about maybe what they've said, if it was really appropriate or not and hurtful. But I think just what I've seen kind of over and over as a theme through everything in the last probably couple of years with youth, mental health, bullying, everything, there seems to be a common theme of people not being connected to the community. And there was a UNICEF report, and Canada was very low, I think 30 out of 37 a couple of years ago in child wellness outcomes, I believe it was. And one thing that kept coming up was that there doesn't seem to be a good connection with community and supports. So a lot of children and youth, I think, feel very isolated and alone. And so that could end up leading to bullying as well, too, if somebody's feeling like that. So I think the number one thing is maybe putting things into place where it can hopefully prevent people from becoming bullies to begin with, by having them, you know, involved in programs like Trellis, Big Brothers and Sisters. There's a new initiative that's just coming. United Way of Calgary has brought it in. It's called Planet Youth, and it's a program that's going to be helping to deal with youth, and they're connecting with a lot of agencies here in Calgary. And yeah, I think that's what's really missing, is connection to feeling part of something, having something you're passionate about, having friends, having people to talk to. Just imagine if you're alone, you don't have any support in your family, you don't really have support at school. And schools now, like there's not enough staff for the teachers, like enough staff, teachers, and everything for all of the kids. And then the aftermath of COVID has done a number on mental health too. So imagine you just feel, you have issues and you're angry and you have anxiety, but you feel like you have nowhere to turn to, you have no one to talk to. Your parents maybe aren't really available. Everyone's working now, I feel like 5 jobs just to survive, right? Like, and I can imagine some people might get this rage inside and then they snap and take it out on other people. So I'm not trying to say bullying is okay or anything, but I think we need to really look at the reasons why somebody is acting in that way. Like, why are they being like this to other people? Where is this anger and rage coming from as well too? The violent crimes seem to have gone up as well. And I really think to go to the root of the problem, we need to have just a community, like supports, groups, after school programs, people to talk to, resources. And I think some of them are available, but I think people don't really know about them. I think we need to have that in schools. Like one of the girls that mentioned is teaching empathy and compassion, like Zana said, in school. And that's a really important thing to know is, just as much as math, just to have those mental health skills and coping skills and caring about other people. Those are really important things to learn, just as much as, science or math equations, I think.
Exactly. Exactly. Anybody else want to add anything? Well, I totally agree with you, Lily. The one thing I want to mention that here, that what you just said, um, actually looking for the root cause. We always think about the situation, okay, this person is bullying someone else. Why they are bullying it? Maybe something going on at home, or something that the environment that he or she came from is not very supportive or something. So, and that's where the empathy and sympathy, all those things, kindness comes, right? I mean, we cannot stop bullying overnight, but I mean, we have to practice, we have to use all the tools that we have, these empathy, sympathy, kindness, respect, all the tools. One day we would be able to stop it. Excellent, thank you so much. Anything else, Lily, do you want to say?
Another thing, there has to be zero tolerance in schools, like zero tolerance everywhere. If bullying and things like this are happening, I've heard so many stories where it's just swept under the rug, like needs to be taken very seriously. It needs to be stopped in its tracks and something needs to be done. There can be absolute zero tolerance for this kind of behavior. People need to feel safe to go to school. People need to feel safe to go out, and don't get me started on online bullying either. Like, wow, that's a whole new world now. I'm from the 70s, so I didn't have to deal with anything like that, thankfully. And I can't even imagine now what it's like for kids. I can't imagine.
Yep. I agree. Thank you. Thank you, Lily, for your insights. So we have come to the end of this episode, and I would like to thank our participants, Ziana, Farifta, and Tasnia. I also like to thank today's special guest, Lily, for taking out of your busy time and join us here today at the podcast. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. Before we wrap up, I would like to remind our listeners that there are several resources available to help individuals dealing with bullying. The government of Alberta has a bullying helpline which provides support and advice to those who experience bullying. And the helpline can be reached at 1-888 456 2323. Bullying is a violation of human rights. Under no circumstances, bullying is acceptable. As a community, as everyone mentioned here, we have our shared responsibility to stand against bullying and refuse to be not to be a bystander. Thank you so much for joining in conversation with Manwar Khan, and we will see you next week.